Now at 9, the Friday night lights have returned, but not all high school football games are kicking off tonight. One school district is keeping student athletes safe from COVID-19.
We're full, completely full. This is not a place that we want to be.
Intermountain Healthcare says it's at 102% capacity in its intensive care unit. What it means for you.
High pressure building in. Under that flow, for some, we'll see a chance of some showers. Some more smoke. What will you see? I'll let you know in the forecast.
Live from Utah's news leader, Fox 13 News at 9, starts right now.
Tonight, football players for Bountiful and Highland High Schools did not take the field for their home opener. The Salt Lake City School District says a player on Highland's team tested positive for COVID-19 yesterday. While the health department is contact tracing, they weren't sure whether there would be enough players to take the field.
I'm sure that the students at Bountiful really wanted to play football today.
It's a disappointing start to the season for many players. Fox 13's Sydney Glenn joins us live tonight from Farmington High School, where people say they are hopeful their players will see a full season as they head back to school this fall. Sydney.
Bob, lots of excitement here tonight. Night one, lots of fans in the stadium. It's loud out here, people getting ready for this season, but parents say seeing a game canceled on the first night of the season has them really wondering how COVID-19 is going to impact them.
Okay, thank you. Friday night football is back.
It's fun to be back here, and it's fun to feel like it's normal, and I hope that we get to stay here.
The thought of how often these stands will stay full and how many times the boys will get to play looms.
I think listening that Bountiful was canceled, there's stress, there's worry. What's going to happen? Are we going to be limited to players again? Are we going to not be able to fill the stands to have our friends cheer us on at every game?
The hope is every game will happen.
We're doing everything we can allowable by state law to keep our students safe.
A spokesperson for the Davis School District says a lot of the season comes down to personal responsibility on and off the field.
We're not testing students, but we tell students if you have the symptoms and they know what those symptoms are, please let us know. Please get tested. We cannot have you around when you're sick.
Many people have missed these Friday nights.
It was really sad to limit tickets. I mean, grandparents, aunts, uncles, even students were not allowed into the stands.
Full of cheering and tackling, and most importantly, touchdowns.
I really hope that we're able to play a full season.
Last year, there were a lot of COVID-19 mandates for school, including for most of the year masks being required. This year, we're seeing a lot of changes. Masks and vaccines for those eligible are being encouraged by many school districts, but not mandated. Live in Farmington, Sydney Glenn, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Sydney, thank you. When a student tests positive for COVID-19, local health departments will conduct contact tracing. Those who are exposed at school or a related activity will need to quarantine unless they are fully vaccinated or can prove they have antibodies from previously testing positive in the past 90 days. The Davis School District hopes if a student tests positive, they will not have to cancel activities and events, but that will depend on the spread. As for vaccines, more than 8,300 doses of the COVID vaccine have been administered since yesterday's report, and more than 3,200 more Utahns are now considered fully vaccinated against COVID-19.
7 yeses, 0 noes, and the ayes have it, and the recommendation is adopted.
The first FDA-approved booster shots are now going into arms. They have been cleared for those with cancer, organ transplants, and other conditions that weaken the immune system. But the CDC says it will only be Pfizer and Moderna for now. The CDC did not include Johnson & Johnson's vaccine in the new authorization because of a lack of sufficient data.
Just hope that we get good results because other people are going to need antibodies in their systems too.
The authorization comes as the new COVID-19 surge is accelerating quickly. We're now averaging more than 114,000 cases every day in the U.S. That's up 18% from last week. On the other hand, the number of new vaccinations is ticking up slightly. The U.S. is now averaging more than 500,000 doses every day, the highest number since June. A little less than 900 new cases are being reported in Utah today. 4 more Utahns have lost their lives to the virus. One of the victims was younger than 45. The 7-day positivity rate is 13.4%.
I haven't seen morale this low in a hospital well, I don't think I've ever seen it this low, period.
Hospitals in Utah are hitting capacity because of unvaccinated COVID-19 patients. This latest surge is stretching resources and burning out hospital staff again. Fox 13's Ben Winslow has doctor reaction to the grim news.
Our trauma COVID hospitals were at 102% capacity in ICU.
An Intermountain healthcare physician offering a dire assessment of the situation in hospitals right now. They're right back where they were last year, with COVID-19 cases surging again.
We're full, completely full. This is not a place that we want to be. 100% capacity is not where you want to run a hospital. That means that all the beds are full in the ICU. So when you get a trauma patient, when you get a MI patient, a heart attack patient, a stroke patient that needs an ICU bed, you got to figure something out.
What this all means is elective surgeries and medical procedures will start to be delayed again. Intermountain is also announcing some changes to its hospital visitation policies. And then there's also the issue of healthcare workers burning out. Staffing shortages are hitting all hospitals.
I haven't seen morale this low in a hospital well, I don't think I've ever seen it this low, period.
While it's Utah's largest healthcare system, Intermountain is not alone. University of Utah Health tells Fox 13 its ICU is 100% full. They're discussing whether they can create overflow space. The Utah Department of Health reports that statewide referral ICUs, which are the hospitals that can best care for COVID patients, are at 85.5% capacity. When 85% capacity is reached, Utah is functionally out of staffed ICU beds, indicating an overwhelmed hospital system. And over 90% of hospitalizations and deaths from COVID-19 are because of unvaccinated people.
We realize now that COVID is here to stay. And unless we can get our community fully vaccinated, we're going to be dealing with this for the indefinite future.
It's led to some frustration.
We love getting thank yous. That lifts us up. We love getting the pats on the back. Thank you for your service type things. What would be even better is if you went out and you encouraged your family, your friends to get vaccinated. You drove them to get vaccinated.
Ben Winslow, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, we didn't come quite far enough to reach a record today, but almost, Breck.
We almost got there. Yeah, another hot day, a scorcher here, especially across northern Utah. The official high in Salt Lake City, 101 degrees, the record for today. As we look back at 102 degrees set back in 1937. On average, we should be in the low 90s, but it was notable. Let me tell you why. Another day with triple-digit temperatures. As we look at the summer months, June to August, so far 2021, that's 20 days, again, at 100 or more. The all-time record with triple-digit temperatures as we look through the summer season was back in 1961 at 21 days. Again, we're on track to find it to be the hottest summer on record. We'll see what happens here over the next couple of weeks. But all kinds of records we know we've been breaking throughout this summer. And again, statewide, we look at temperatures well above normal. Triple digits in Ogden for the official high. Salt Lake City, we already mentioned. We did get up to 101 in Moab. 101 in St. George. As we look at our current temperatures, we're still in the upper 80s at this hour in Salt Lake City, upper 70s in Blanding. Now, early on, we had some isolated thunderstorms across southwestern Utah. They've dissipated. Moisture still in place, though. As we're moving to a northwesterly flow, we're starting to see more smoke. What does that mean for your weekend forecast? We'll take a look at it coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thanks, Breck. Could an old Amtrak passenger rail line through Utah see new life? Coming up, how the long-debated infrastructure bill could help restore the Pioneer Route.
The first of 3,000 U.S. soldiers and Marines have arrived in Afghanistan as city after city there falls to the Taliban. I'm Caroline Shively in Washington. I'll have that story coming up.
Crews with Intermountain's Life Flight team are training here at Solitude to make sure they can hoist people during rescues. Fox 13 got an inside look, and you'll see that training straight ahead.
It is showtime at the fair. We'll tell you how COVID and the drought are affecting kids this year.
New at 9, a man was badly hurt in West Valley City when he was hit on his motorcycle. Police say it happened at about 5:45 this afternoon. The motorcyclist was westbound on 4700 South when he was hit by a car turning north into a parking lot at 2800 West. The man on the motorcycle is expected to recover, we're told. The road is still closed, however, but police say they expect to reopen it in the next hour or two. In world news tonight, as 3,000 U.S. troops head to Afghanistan, there is growing concern Kabul could fall to the Taliban over the weekend. Fox's Caroline Shively has the latest from Washington.
The first of 3,000 U.S. Marines and soldiers arriving in Afghanistan this weekend are finding a grim reality. The Taliban took 4 more provincial capitals on Friday, zeroing in on the country's most important city of Kabul.
And we have noted with great concern the speed with which they have been moving and the lack of resistance that they have faced.
The U.S. troops are there to evacuate American diplomats from the U.S. Embassy in Kabul. Sources told Fox on Friday that officials destroyed sensitive documents and equipment at the embassy.
Those American personnel should have been gone a long time ago. Now we're going to have to shoot our way out. This is going to be as bad as our evacuation from Saigon.
U.S. officials are warning the Taliban that taking the Afghan capital would backfire.
The world is coming together in a single voice to say this is not something that we can countenance. This is not a kind of force that will garner legitimacy from the international community.
The Taliban has made huge gains since April when President Biden announced the U.S. would pull out of Afghanistan by September. The terrorist group now controls the majority of the country.
These people they have no conscience. They're evil. And now they're going to control an entire state. It's insane.
The Afghan government still has American support, but some U.S. officials fear unless something drastically changes, the government could collapse totally within a month. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Another task force of Utah firefighters left for California today to help battle the Dixie Fire. Utah is sending more than a dozen firefighters, 5 engines, and a support vehicle. They left from the Maverick Center this morning and will be deployed for 16 days. Here is the latest drought map for Utah. Another little part of northeastern Utah has dropped to the severe level. The overwhelming majority of the state, however, is in the worst drought categories, extreme and exceptional. It is fair season, and children from 4-H and FFA will be showing their animals at your county fair soon. Fox 13's Brian Champagne checks out how COVID and the drought are getting children involved while also making the experience more expensive.
This morning started with hog judging, where numbers are up.
There's been a lot more kids doing it just because of COVID. All of these kids need different projects to do.
Even though
I know Utah FFA's members were down by about 1,000 members this year due to COVID-19.
4-H says their showing numbers are up, even though it costs more this year to feed these hogs.
We bought about 10 bags every 2 to 3 weeks at $25 a bag.
Sheep judging was next, same story. Raising animals was a good fit with COVID-19.
You can do it all from home, and he's really just loved being around a sheep.
I like it, and it's really fun.
But feeding sheep during a drought is...
We've had lots of kids in our group that just can't even find small bales of hay and are just struggling to figure out what they're going to do. So we're sharing and we're doing the best we can, I guess.
Out of all the animals here today, cows cost the most to buy, and with the price of feed, definitely the most to raise. The kids are excited to show.
We weren't able to get out and show our animals last year.
But if you thought the judge looked serious, imagine feeding one of these milk makers when hay has gone from
$150 to $170 a ton to $250 to $300 a ton this year just because of the drought.
And while most of these kids will stop paying feed costs after tomorrow's auction,
I'm glad that I had the experience, but I am ready to give them up, to be done.
that's not the case for farmers.
With dairy cattle, we don't really sell them is the problem. We get to take them home and keep feeding them and hope that they calve in and start producing milk to sell.
Brian Champagne, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Well, I'll tell you what, with triple-digit temperatures today would not be the day to be a sheep.
No, it wouldn't. Unless
Nice
you're
and
sheared.
warm
No.
underneath all that wool.
I know, no. Tough for anyone. Of course, we've been talking about being outdoors, yes, because of the heat. The problem that we had to start the week off, you didn't want to be outdoors because of the smoke. What if we get a combo of both heat and smoke? Well, that's what we're looking to line up here as we look for your forecast, at least across northern Utah heading into the weekend. Current temperatures, we're still holding on to the upper 80s, Salt Lake City through Ogden. Right now in Provo, we're at 84 degrees. We show you the air quality. It's been decent here over the past couple of days. Moving into that moderate concern level, really it's kind of in between good and moderate. A lot of green and yellow. We like these colors, especially throughout the summer months where we know we can have some bad air, and definitely where we've been experiencing that here over the past week. It's good across southwestern Utah, moderate concern as we look towards Moab. So all in all, not bad. We look upstream though. Of course, as we get near the fires, we're seeing unhealthy air, Northern California through Oregon. Now, as we looked on Thursday, we got more of a northerly flow. Now we've turned to a southerly flow. That's not coming from the direction of the smoke, but things are going to change as we get a westerly, northwesterly flow where we're seeing that bad air, where we're seeing the smoke. It's starting to make its move back towards the state. Confirming as we look at our computer models, again focusing in on the smoke where you can see across the state, not too bad, a little bit of smoke in southern Utah, but as we go through the clock tomorrow afternoon into the evening, again, where you're seeing the brighter colors, the light greens, and of course even those deeper colors, that begins to move towards the state, increasing the smoke, which also means we're decreasing the air quality as we go, especially from Saturday into Sunday. So as we were moderate today, potentially late Saturday could be in the unhealthy and holding on to that moving through Sunday. So it's kind of a smoky forecast, at least for the weekend, with the focus for northern Utah. Now, the last couple of days, we've been seeing some moisture make its push across southern Utah. A few isolated thunderstorms. We had severe thunderstorm warnings in effect. No flash flooding today. Different story yesterday near Kanab and Hilldale, but the moisture is there. Southern, south central Utah, making its move through central Utah. So throughout central and southern Utah tomorrow, we'll see that chance of some afternoon thunderstorms, potentially bringing that flash flooding, and definitely keeping our eye to the sky for your Saturday forecast. But as this high pressure moves towards the state, sets up for the weekend, that's going to keep the heat around. But again, with that circulation, we see that westerly flow setting up. That's why we're saying the smoke will be increasing across northern Utah. So for tonight, mostly clear skies, overnight lows 60s and 70s through northern Utah, low 60s through central Utah, upper 70s in St. George. Tomorrow, yeah, that chance of some showers across southern Utah, isolated thunderstorm, especially over the higher terrain. Another hot day. Looking at a high of 100 degrees in Salt Lake City, that would make it day 21. That would tie the record for at least with triple-digit temperatures for the most days for the summer months here as we look across northern Utah. Now, St. George, isolated thunderstorm tomorrow. Better chance of seeing some scattered thunderstorms with monsoon flow increasing by the middle of the week. That'll drop temperatures. Northern Utah, it's a smoky weekend, still hot. Then that monsoon moisture makes its move towards northern Utah. We'll see a better chance of some rain and some thunderstorms and cooler temperatures by the middle of the week.
All right, thank you, Breck. Still ahead, it's something you hope you never have to face in real life. See how Hill Air Force Base prepared for a worst-case scenario today. Welcome back. A pop-up vaccine clinic at the Red Iguana restaurant is wrapping up tonight. The owners partnered with the Salt Lake County Health Department to give people on the west side of Salt Lake easier access to COVID vaccines. The restaurant has been around for decades and many employees live in the community, so they know there is a need for vaccinations.
And we're trying to have a no-risk, low-key place where they can come and get, and for our employees too. Some of the hesitant employees, we want to make sure. We've already had 4 or 5 in this afternoon, so we're really excited about that.
Bill Coker and his wife Lucy Cardenas say after today they'd like to host another pop-up clinic. The Urban Arts Festival is returning to the Gateway in downtown Salt Lake City next month. And they're jumping for joy, as you can see. A lowrider exhibition is just one of the many things to look forward to. Organizers and artists are especially glad this year's festival is happening after having to modify the event last year. One vendor is excited to show off their mobile theater bus.
Another big part of it is we want to be able to make it so the Salt Lake community has access and knowledge about all the incredible skills and talents that are in this area.
The festival runs from Friday, September 3rd through Sunday, September 5th. Hand sanitizer will be available and organizers recommend you wear a mask in crowded areas. If you'd like to volunteer at the event, go to fox13now.com. In our next half hour, we already know the infrastructure deal would be a game changer for our roads, broadband access, and more. But what about trains in Utah? See how the bill could help bring back Amtrak's Pioneer Route. Plus, it's been 26 years since a young Utah girl's murder. The family's push for justice in solving this cold case. A battle is brewing between Democrats over the fate of the president's infrastructure bill. Progressive Democrats tell House Speaker Nancy Pelosi before a vote on the infrastructure bill, they want to pass a second, far larger package containing spending priorities. At the same time, a group of moderate Democrats say they will not vote on the larger spending package until the infrastructure bill is signed into law. If the $1.2 trillion infrastructure bill becomes law, it could lead to expanded passenger rail service in the Northwest and bring back an old rail line that runs through Utah. Fox 13's Aaron Cox has an in-depth look at the possible return of the Pioneer Route.
Amtrak trains connect cities and towns all across the United States, but if you look at the route map, you'll see a blank space in the Northwest.
There are a few east-west connections, almost zero north-south connections, and huge areas that are void.
Dave Strawmeyer, a county commissioner in Montana, is part of a larger group hoping to kickstart passenger rail in the region.
With the Pioneer Route that would connect perhaps Salt Lake City or Cheyenne, Wyoming, through Boise and on up to Portland, Oregon, this is a portion of the region that has been underserved by passenger rail for far too long.
The Pioneer Route connected cities from Chicago to Seattle, including Salt Lake City, with service 3 times a week for 20 years until 1997, a connection the Boise City Council hopes to bring back.
Folks in Eastern Oregon and in Southern Idaho need to get to Boise, especially in the wintertime, and having a non-driving choice to do that is very important.
Elaine Clegg, president of the Boise City Council, passed a resolution to bring back the Pioneer Line, largely for economic reasons.
Say it goes from Portland to Salt Lake, so you've got that point to point. But in between, you've got hundreds of cities, and each one of those can link to its sister, its next city over or 3 cities over.
Though many I spoke with support starting up the old line again, they admit it's a lot more complicated than just picking up from where they left off. Vern Kiesler with the consulting firm Parametrics helped develop the rail plan for the Utah Department of Transportation. In 2008, they looked into what it would take to restore the Pioneer line.
They come up with 4 different options to reinstate the Pioneer. 4 different routes, basically going from Denver to Seattle or Denver to Portland, or Salt Lake City to Seattle and Salt Lake City to Portland.
The most popular route would be Denver to Seattle, going through Wyoming and Utah. But Kiesler says it was also the most expensive option. 13 years ago, they estimated operating costs to be $46.2 million a year, with only $13 million in revenue. And, well, money isn't the only problem.
Amtrak has to run on the private freight railroads. And so getting the cooperation from the private freight railroads to give priority to Amtrak passenger trains for reliability and consistency, I think is a big deal.
Restoring the Pioneer route would take big changes, but some say there are rural economies that need them.
Really, the only way to come and visit Arches and Canyonlands is by car.
Those with the Utah Rail Passengers Association believe enhanced rail service could cut down on crowded parking lots at some of Utah's national parks while allowing for more visitors.
We're hoping that all of these obstacles will get worked out.
What we want to impress upon Congress, the administration, is that there are actual people, real living, breathing people who live out here in the West who have been underserved too long by way of passenger rail service.
In Salt Lake County, Aaron Cox, Fox 13 News, Utah.
In a statement shared with Fox 13 News, an Amtrak spokesperson said they are ready to rebuild core infrastructure and replace equipment with the money promised in the infrastructure bill. Amtrak, however, has not acknowledged the Pioneer route in their recently published expansion plans. A Salt Lake City family is marking a very sad anniversary tonight. 26 years ago today, Rosie Tapia was found murdered after being kidnapped from her own bedroom. August 13th, 1995. It began as a missing child investigation and ended with Rosie's body found in a nearby canal. Police later determined she'd been sexually assaulted and murdered. It's a case that remains unsolved, but still active. Rosie's family visits her grave every year.
It's 26 years today, and I feel that her case is not going anywhere. So we really do need the help to help solve her case. So if anybody's out there that has any information, come forward either to myself or to Jason or the detectives.
Rosie would have been 32 years old now. Louise says there isn't a day go by where she doesn't think of Rosie and the now adult woman she would have been. Hill Air Force Base went through hands-on training today to learn how to handle mass casualties, and it was very realistic with blood injuries, chaos, and confusion. About 70 volunteers mirrored what could happen if there was a biochemical explosion on base. The medical teams had to tend to multiple victims and figure out what type of chemical was used so they'd know how to treat the patients and secure the scene.
Usually when this happens, it happens fast and furious. Even coming into it, understanding that this was going to happen, their anxiety is still up because it's a sense of urgency. And even though these are mannequins and then actors, they know that this could happen in real world. So they're pretty anxious today.
The airmen and team leaders will now review how they did and examine areas where they excelled and where they need improvement. We're learning more about the upcoming reservation system to hike Angel's Landing in Zion National Park. All visitors will still be able to hike to Scouts Lookout, about 2 miles up the trail, but from there, hikers will need a permit to continue. Applications will begin in January for hikes in March. The National Park Service will hold lotteries to determine who gets to hike to the lookout. Applications cost $6 for groups of up to 6 people. Winners must then pay an additional fee of $3 per person. As life flight helicopters rescue more people than ever, proper training only gets more important. We'll show you how crews prepare to save lives in a Fox 13 News exclusive. Intermountain Healthcare's Life Flight helicopters have already rescued more people this year than in all of last year. Fox 13's Spencer Joseph got an exclusive look at how these crews train.
between.
It's 10:30 Friday morning.
Clip, cable, clip, cable, clip, cable. Always know where the rescuer is. I know where hazards are, and I know where the helicopter is.
An experienced Intermountain Life Flight crew is getting a safety briefing before training.
You're going to be close to water. We don't want anybody to get wet.
And the man giving the briefing is flight medic and hoist rescuer Dave Weber.
Things that we should be focusing on every day is being ready to go out the door as soon as possible.
And before the rotors ever start, going over the situation is always important.
Like all skills, I would argue, it is perishable, and you have to train. You have to train fairly consistently.
After the briefing, the crew is now ready to take to the sky.
Let's do PPE checks, and then let's be flying in 6 minutes.
Winds minimal, obstructions to the east, near creek. Ready for up?
Ahead of taking off at any point in time, the pilot runs through a checklist and then bring it to full flight.
Ready for down?
Now in the air, crews try a variety of different techniques to hoist people up.
And it's typically the weather and the terrain that dictate what we do.
The crew has 3 parts: a pilot, a paramedic, and a hoist operator like Judy Carpenter.
I manage the pendant and control cable lengths and cable location by talking to the pilot.
She's been doing this for 20 years, but training is still essential.
We try to train in terrain where we hoist the victim.
And the victims aren't dummies. They're real people, like Lacey Ty.
Sometimes the simplest touch is reassuring by our paramedics once they get to you.
She's normally on the helicopter, but today she was on the other end.
It seems like it should be a nerve-wracking experience, but I'm with people that I trust and believe in.
Intermountain Life Flight is the only civilian group in the country able to do lift rescues and has already done more this year than all of last year combined.
I think there's seemingly more people getting outside now. The second thing is perhaps some of those people newer to the outdoors are less prepared.
So as Intermountain Life Flight continues to rescue more people than ever, training is key to keep those in need safe.
The company takes so much pride in their patient care.
To combine all of that is a real great privilege here in the Intermountain West.
And you can see they are continuing that training behind me. Crews remind me this is not a silver bullet for any rescues. It is very dangerous, but it's an effective tool to make sure people in need get home safely. At Solitude, Spencer Joseph, Fox 13 News, Utah.
Still ahead, meet a girl who's sharing her love of music from a place you wouldn't expect.
And later in sports, the Jazz's Summer League squad trying to stay perfect while the preps here in Utah are underway before most of the country is. High school football highlights from week number 1. Back in a bit.
So glad you could join us for Fox 13 News at 9. Fox 13 meteorologist Breck Bolton will have your first alert weekend forecast in just a few minutes. It is a sad case of road rage you have to see to believe. Look at this. Police say the driver of a Jeep threw an axe at another driver after harassing and honking at that driver. Happened in late July in the Seattle area in Washington State. Detectives eventually tracked down the driver of that Jeep. Turns out he'd been booked on multiple felony charges just a few days earlier. Or later, I should say, making it much easier for them to find and arrest him for this incident, since he was already in jail. Wow. Well, you may have seen it go viral on social media last month. An entire staff at a Nebraska Burger King quit in protest. Now it has happened again, this time at a Family Dollar store in Lincoln. A staffing shortage forced the store to close temporarily. A sign was seen on the door that said, "We all quit. Sorry for the inconvenience." The store has reopened after bringing in workers from other locations. Managers are now looking for replacements. A teen girl in Virginia is taking action to teach the gift of music from a unique place. Take a look. 16-year-old Elizabeth turned a back office at her father's auto shop into a place to teach piano. She's been playing since she was 5 and said it helped her in school. So she wanted to give back and teach other children how to play.
I knew that piano lessons are expensive. They're not really accessible to everyone, and so but I can provide it for free. Really wanted to make this accessible and give back to my community. So I just thought that, well, I can combine one of my passions into something that I can provide.
In that need, so far Elizabeth has 2 students and gives 45-minute lessons. She hopes the piano can help other children one note at a time. One note at a time. Well, we all know the value of music lessons in academia. Don't we, Breck?
That's what I try to teach my kids. This will help you in school if you keep practicing.
Well, it helped me, I'll tell you that much. I would have failed miserably had it not been for my musical.
Well, I must admit it did help me. Now helping me doing forecasting for you, of course, getting you ready for the weekend, where ending the week, not bad. Hot, though. Temperatures, once again, the triple digits across northern Utah. It's been a hot summer. Getting rid of most of the smoke. That's as we look at the sunset here tonight from Tooele. Karen Newman sending this in. Noticeably different if we look in contrast at the beginning of the week, where we had beautiful pictures coming in, but highlighted and getting that showcase because of the smoke that's been in place. So air quality improving. Right now, it's not bad here across northern Utah. We're in between that good and moderate concern level, at least at this hour. Things look to change, though, throughout the weekend. I mentioned we're going to see some smoke move back into the area, initially coming through northern Utah, especially as we look towards tomorrow afternoon. Now, current temperature, 88 degrees. Okay, looking from the Storm Prediction Center, where we possibly could see some thunderstorms. For today, through the afternoon into tonight, the focus was mainly just across southwestern into south central Utah. Now the forecast and outlook for tomorrow, let me show you. We're seeing that moisture move further northward. Now looking at central into eastern Utah. A lot of it over the higher terrain. So the mountains seeing that possibility of those isolated thunderstorms. But the flash flood potential increases as we look towards tomorrow, where the focus today was mainly Zion National Park. But lining things up for tomorrow, Bryce Canyon. Yeah, it's probable Grand Staircase, Zion as well. Other areas with a possibility would be Capitol Reef over towards San Rafael Swell. So yes, we're seeing more active weather due to moisture pumping in. It's kind of a quasi-monsoonal flow, not something that's fairly deep or spreading all across the state, but it is increasing and spreading through those areas that I previously mentioned. So right now it's not a concern. The little isolated thunderstorms that we did have across southwestern Utah, they've died off. We get a resurgence come tomorrow afternoon. Now we're looking at the models, focusing in on the precipitation and where the clouds will be. You can see clouds through central into southern Utah. So as we move throughout the afternoon, we're going to see those isolated thunderstorms. Again, looking tomorrow afternoon, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock into the early evening hours. And then that moisture gets somewhat pushed as we get more of a northwesterly flow. That's what we're saying. That's why we're going to increase the smoke across northern Utah and beginning to push the moisture away, at least for a couple of days. But as high pressure moves a little further eastward, we get a more well-defined monsoonal flow going by the middle of the week. So hour by hour forecast, still kind of smoky and hazy. Temperatures quick to climb, looking like we're going to get up close to triple digits once again along the Wasatch Front. I am forecasting a high of 100 degrees in Salt Lake City. If we get there, that would make it day 21 this summer that we've seen temperatures in the triple digits. Again, a chance of some scattered thunderstorms, mainly over the mountains there, southern Utah, St. George, slight chance. And then that moisture moves away Sunday, Monday. Tuesday, though, that monsoon flow sets up again, I should say. Afternoon thunderstorms with a chance Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. That'll cool temperatures off. So this weekend, it's smoky, it's hot. We're clearing out okay. Then that monsoon moisture makes its move towards the north. Better chance of seeing some scattered thunderstorms. That'll bring temperatures down. That'll feel nice in the mid-80s. But we'll have to contend with the triple digits once again tomorrow.
It's going to be good to prepare, just to get back into, a season. It's crazy how fast it flies by from college to now, preparing with these guys. I feel like we're learning a lot, and we still got a lot of time to just keep learning. We're learning now. We got a lot of learning this week, and when we see these different opponents, it's going to be great for us.
As Zach Wilson gears up to make his Jets preseason debut tomorrow night, his alma mater, Corner Canyon, opened up the high school campaign tonight. The defending champs, ironically, had not lost a single football game since Wilson's final one with the Chargers. 40 straight wins and 3 state championships in their trophy case since that time in 2018. Their quest for a 4th beginning at Farmington, where Devin Brown has big cleats to fill with Jackson Dart's departure, but boy, did he ever live up. On 4th and 11 to keep the drive going to Cody Hagan, setting up this very next play. Hagan again in the corner, this time for 6. Next time down, the Chargers charge. Brown putting some mustard on it. And after a little airmail, it's Hagan once again. Seriously, why pick a different receiver when you have that guy? And then the preceding touchdown goes to, yep, you guessed it, number 3 again. Corner led 58-7 at the half, 72-21 the final. Brown threw 8 touchdown balls tonight. Crazy. Corners Region 4 rival Lone Peak. They're starting at Timpview. The Knights with a comfortable halftime advantage, and they add to it here. Easton Comer to Jackson Willits. The senior manages to keep his feet, shake a few out of their shoes, escape trouble, somehow rumble over the line to extend the lead to 35-13. And looks like, yeah, they win big tonight. Lone Peak does in Provo. Bingham Weaver was interesting. The Miners going up 4 touchdowns in the second. Cody Lazenby and Haveo Photo connect for Photo's 3rd touchdown of the opening half. But then the Warriors whittle that to 35-7. Look at that, into the locker room. Isaiah Moa, pick 6 is Lazenby there, but Bingham's defense settled down, and then they took control. Dallin Martinez across for the Miners, who are up very big in the 4th. A big cat battle at East. The Leopards moving down to 5A this year to host the defending champs. Orem already up 13-0 when Chase Tua Tagaloa is about to spearhead more. Isaac Yakota has the first down, but not before getting into a little tiff with Tuione Tasinga. Then Tigers finding the end zone with the delayed give to Mac Hickson. East needing a big play, and they need it quick, and they get it quick. On the very first play of the ensuing drive, Amini Amone gonna break 175 yards for Red, only to watch Orem quickly squash any and all momentum before the half. Roger Saleapaga in waiting from Tua Tagaloa. Orem holds on 27-14. Dixie making the trip north to battle Springville. Start with some Red Devil defense. Porter Small making the quarterback look small. Bronson Barvin going down via the sack. Then Springville with some punt return magic. Jaden Toki bobs and weaves to the house to put the Devils on the board first. Dixie's Jonathan Bibiano split the uprights in the second, only to watch the home team reel off 34 unanswered. This was all Springville, 41-10. And the Jazz and Heat Summer League squad going at it in Vegas. Last year's draft pick, Udoka Azubuike, mopping up the miss. But Utah never led in the first half, but half 2 was all Jazz, taking their first lead 19 seconds into the third, never looking back. Elijah Hughes, one of 5 Jazz men in double figures. Then more Doak, 18 and 9 boards for him. Utah really pulling away in the 4th. Trent Forrest dumps for Nate Sestina. Forrest leading all scorers with 19. The Jazz have yet to lose a game all summer, 5-0. They go again Sunday against the Clippers. We'll be right back.
Finally, on Fox 13 News at 9, I've had the sad honor tonight to anchor our director, Chris Jackson's final newscast with us here at Fox 13. Chris has worked at Fox 13 for about 12 years. Hi, Chris. Wave at us. Or is that a still picture? Oh, there he is. Over the years, he even became a minor Fox 13 News celebrity as Grumpy Director. On Good Day Utah's Song of the Day, he has trained countless directors and producers and will be greatly missed as he and his family move back to the East Coast for more work in television. And as talented as he is, he's an even better friend. But as we bid farewell, bye-bye, Chris. We love you, man. We wish you and your beautiful family well and the very best as you start this new adventure back east. Thanks again for everything. Chris Jackson. Quickcast is next.